You know how sometimes two health issues that seem totally separate, like miles apart, actually turn out to be linked?
Oh, absolutely. It happens more often than you might think in biology.
Well, okay, get this. Osteoporosis, weakening bones, and Alzheimer's disease affecting the brain. Two major things that happen as we age.
Right. Huge public health concerns.
What if the hidden connection, the really surprising link, is something scientists are calling zombie cells?
Ah, yes. Senescent cells. The zombie nickname is quite evocative, isn't it?
It really is. So today we're doing a deep dive into some fascinating new research. We want to unpack how these, zombie cells might connect bone health directly to brain health.
And explore what this could mean down the line for treatments, but also, importantly, what you might be able to think about right now.
Exactly. So let's start there. These zombie cells, what are they, scientifically speaking?
Okay, so the formal term is senescent cells. Think of them as cells that have aged or become damaged and they've stopped dividing, which sounds okay initially.
Right, sounds like they're just retiring.
Uh-huh. But they don't undergo the normal process of programmed cell death. They refuse to die, hence the zombie analogy. And they don't just, sit there quietly.
Okay, so they're lingering. What's the problem with that?
The problem is they accumulate, especially as we age. And worse, they start secreting this nasty cocktail of inflammatory chemicals.
A cocktail? Like what's in it?
It's scientifically known as the senescence-associated secretory phenotype, or SASP for short. It's full of inflammatory signals, growth factors, enzymes that degrade tissue.
Yikes. So they're not just zombies, they're actively sort of poisoning the neighborhood.
That's a pretty good way to put it, yeah. This SAP damages the healthy cells and tissues nearby, creating this environment that promotes aging and various diseases. It's like having disruptive tenants who won't leave and keep causing damage.
Okay, so not just inert bystanders, they're active troublemakers.
Precisely. And that's what's really fascinating and, frankly, a bit disturbing. These cells that have stopped dividing are still metabolically active and are actively contributing to pathology. It changes how we view aging. It's not just passive decline. There's active cellular mischief going on.
Cellular mischief, I like that. Okay, so if these zombie cells are causing general trouble with their inflammatory SASP soup, how did researchers connect that specifically to both bones and brains? That seems like quite a leap.
It does, right. But a key piece of the puzzle came from a specific study recently published in Nature Aging.
Ah, okay. What did they find?
They pinpointed a really surprising culprit, a specific protein called Serum Amyloid P. SAP.
SAP, okay, serum amyloid P. Where does that fit in? Where does it come from?
Well, here's the connection. The study found that SAP is produced by certain fat cells, specifically fat cells located within our bone marrow.
Fat cells in bone marrow? I didn't even know that was a major thing.
It is, and unfortunately, the number of these fat cells tends to increase quite a bit as we get older.
Okay, so more fat cells in the bone marrow with age, and they produce this SAP protein. What does SAP do that links bones and brains?
Right, this is the crucial part. The research revealed SAP is a kind of dual impact. It seems to contribute to bone loss. There's your osteoporosis link. And it also appears to contribute to the buildup of amyloid-beta plaques in the brain.
Whoa, okay. Amyloid-beta plaques, that's one of the main hallmarks of Alzheimer's disease.
Exactly. SAP isn't new, actually. It's been known for a while to associate with amyloid deposits in general, conditions called amyloidosis. In the brain, it's found right there with the Alzheimer's plaques and might help them form or maybe prevent them from being cleared out.
And in the bones, how does it hurt bones?
It seems to be involved in processes that lead to bone breakdown and fragility. So it's implicated in making bones weaker.
So let me see if I got this right. As we age, we get more fat cells in our bone marrow. Some of these become senescent, these zombie fat cells.
That seems to be the case, yes.
Yeah.
Senescent fat cells producing SAP.
And these zombie fat cells pump out SAP, which then travels or acts locally to weaken bones and potentially promote Alzheimer's-related changes in the brain.
That's the connection the study highlights.
Yeah.
It really suggests that the aging bone marrow environment itself could be a shared source driving both conditions simultaneously.
Wow. If you connect that to the bigger picture, it points towards a common root for two diseases we usually think of as completely separate. That's quite profound.
It is. It challenges our siloed view of age-related diseases and suggests there might be underlying shared mechanisms we haven't fully appreciated.
So the really big question then, the so what for all of us listening.
Yeah.
if there's a shared cause, could there possibly be a shared solution?
That's the exciting implication, isn't it? If you can target the root cause, maybe you can tackle both problems.
So what does that look like? What kind of treatments are we talking about?
Well, this really shines a spotlight on senolytic therapies. These are drugs designed specifically to find and eliminate senescent zombie cells.
Ah, getting rid of the troublemakers directly.
Exactly. The study you mentioned, the Kumar study, actually tested this in mice. They used a combination of two compounds, dasatinib and quercetin.
Dasatinib. That sounds familiar. Isn't that a cancer drug?
It is, yeah. It's being repurposed and studied for its senolytic effects. And quercetin is a natural flavonoid. You find it in things like onions, apples, capers.
Okay, so this drug combo, what happened in the mice?
They saw improvements in both bone health and markers related to brain health. It seemed to reduce the senescent cell burden and dampen the negative effects.
So it worked on both ends.
It appeared to, yes. They also tested another compound called CPHPC, which works differently. It directly targets and depletes the SAP protein itself.
Oh, interesting. So you could remove the zombie cells, or you could try to neutralize the specific damaging protein they produce, like SAP.
Right. Or potentially even combine those approaches. It suggests a kind of dual action strategy might be possible. Clear out the bad cells and clean up the harmful stuff they secrete.
That sounds incredibly promising. But, these are mouse studies. How far are we from something like this being used in people? What are the hurdles?
That's the critical next step, and it's a big one. Translating this to humans requires rigorous clinical trials. We need to confirm efficacy, of course, but also safety.
Right, because these drugs target fundamental aging processes. You wouldn't want unintended consequences.
Absolutely. Figuring out the right dose, managing potential side effects, identifying which patients would benefit most, these are all major challenges. It's a long road from a discovery like this in the lab to a treatment you can get from your doctor. But the underlying concept is very powerful.
Okay, so we need to be patient on the therapy front, keep an eye on the research. But while we're waiting, does this knowledge give us anything we can act on now? Knowing this connection, this zombie cell link between bone and brain.
Yes, definitely. I think this research really reinforces the value of certain lifestyle approaches, framing them perhaps as anti-zombie strategies.
Anti-zombie lifestyle. I like the sound of that. What does it involve?
Well, think about what encourages senescent cell accumulation and inflammation. Weight-bearing exercise, for instance. We know it's crucial for bone density.
Standard advice for osteoporosis prevention.
Right, but this research suggests it might also be influencing the bone marrow environment in a way that could reduce those senescent fat cells, the SAP producers. So it's not just mechanically strengthening bone, it could be working at a cellular level against this shared pathway.
Ah, so it's doing double duty potentially. What else?
Diet is huge, not just focusing narrowly on, say, calcium and vitamin D for bones, although those are important, but thinking more broadly about an anti-inflammatory diet.
To counter that SASP cocktail the zombie cells release.
Exactly. Reducing overall systemic inflammation could make the body less hospitable to these senescent cells and mitigate the damage they cause. Think lots of fruits, vegetables, healthy fats, limiting processed foods and sugars.
Makes sense. What about things to avoid?
Well, smoking is a big one. It's a major driver of inflammation and cellular stress. Excessive alcohol consumption, too. Cutting those out essentially removes fuel that these senescent processes seem to thrive on.
So basically the classic healthy lifestyle advice exercise, good diet, no smoking, moderate alcohol, might actually be working, in part, by keeping these zombie cells in check and limiting their ability to link bone problems with brain problems.
That's a really compelling way to look at it based on this emerging science, yes. These aren't just vague healthy habits. They could be actively intervening in these specific cellular mechanisms we're uncovering. It's about creating an internal environment that resists senescence and its downstream consequences.
It really makes you think differently about, say, going for a walk or choosing a healthier meal. It's not just for your bones or your brain, but potentially for the system connecting them.
Precisely. It underscores the interconnectedness.
This whole deep dive, it really drives home how interconnected everything in our body is, doesn't it? Parts talking to each other in ways we're only just starting to understand.
Absolutely. The signaling between tissues is incredibly complex and vital.
So maybe the next time you think about doing something good for your bones, like that weight-bearing exercise, you can consider that you might, just might, be doing something protective for your brain too through this whole hidden zombie cell network. It's a fascinating connection to mull over. What aspect of this connection stands out most to you?